Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins All World, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we've got a real treat for you. If you're a fan of US coinage, or even just someone who loves hunting for hidden treasures, you won't want to miss this. We're talking about a coin that could be sitting in your collection right now, potentially worth a small fortune, the 1964 United States 1 cent. That's right, the 1964 penny. A coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but trust me, when it comes to collecting, this little guy holds some serious value. Why, you ask? Well, in today's video, we're going to uncover what makes the 1964 penny so special, the rare minting errors that can send its value skyrocketing, and just how much this humble coin can be worth on the collector's market. So, make sure to stick with us till the end because we'll be revealing just how much a 1964 penny could be worth today, and trust me, it's more than you'd expect. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. Before we dive into the details of the coin itself, let's quickly set the scene of the year 1964. It was a time of significant change in the United States. The country was still in the middle of the post-World War II boom, experiencing economic growth and stability. However, it was also a year marked by important political and cultural shifts. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson was in office, and he was leading the country through important legislation like the Civil Rights Act. The economy was strong, the Cold War tensions were rising, and the space race was in full swing. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins, including the 1964 cent, which featured the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of unity, leadership, and the very ideals the country was striving to uphold during a time of change. The 1964 penny was issued during a time when copper was still the primary metal used in coin production, giving the coin its signature weight and color. But even though the 1964 penny was widely circulated, there's something special about this coin that sets it apart from others minted that year, and the value it holds today could surprise you. Let's take a moment to appreciate the design of the 1964 penny. On the obverse front, we have the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which has been featured on the penny since 1909. Lincoln, who led the United States through the Civil War and worked tirelessly to preserve the Union, is an enduring symbol of freedom and democracy. The reverse of the coin features the familiar wheat ears design, which was used on the penny from 1909 until 1958. It's one of the most iconic designs in U.S. numismatics, and many collectors hold the wheat penny in high regard. At the bottom of the reverse is the inscription E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, which reflects the unity of the United States as a nation. However, this design was just about to change. In 1959, the U.S. Mint introduced a new reverse design featuring the Lincoln Memorial, but in 1964, the classic wheat design was still in circulation. This gives the 1964 penny some extra appeal for collectors who are interested in completing sets of coins from the wheat penny era. Now, let's get into why this coin is worth more than its face value. Here's where things start to get exciting. The 1964 penny is one of those coins that can be worth significantly more than just 1 cent if you know what to look for. Just like any coin, minting errors can dramatically increase a coin's value. Let's go over some of the most valuable and rare minting errors and varieties that you should be on the lookout for on the 1964 penny. Point 1. Double die error. One of the most sought-after types of errors is the double die. This occurs when the die used to stamp the design onto the coin is misaligned, causing the image to be struck twice. If you find a 1964 penny with a double die error, you might see some doubling on important features like Liberty, In God We Trust, or even parts of Abraham Lincoln's portrait. The more obvious the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Double die pennies are extremely collectible and can be worth thousands of dollars depending on the error and the coin's condition. Point 2. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike happens when the metal blank, or planchet, is not properly aligned in the minting press. This results in part of the coin being cut off, creating a misaligned design. The further off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. If you happen to find a 1964 penny that's been struck off-center, it could be worth much more than a typical penny. Point 3. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet occurs when the blank metal used to make the coin is not cut correctly, resulting in a missing piece or irregular shape in the coin. A 1964 penny with a clipped planchet is a rarity and is considered a collector's item. These errors are usually more noticeable, and a coin with a significant clip could be worth a considerable amount more than a typical penny. Point 4. Die cracks and cuds. As coins are struck by the dies at the U.S. Mint, those dies wear down over time. When a die starts to crack or chip, it can create a die crack or die cud on the coin. A 1964 penny with a die crack running across Lincoln's portrait or a cud in the design is considered an interesting error, and these coins can be highly desirable to collectors who specialize in die varieties. The value of a die crack or cud will depend on how prominent the error is, but these coins can definitely command a premium. Point 5. Wrong planchet errors. Occasionally, coins are struck on the wrong type of metal planchet. This is called a wrong planchet error. A 1964 penny struck on a copper-nickel planchet, instead of the regular copper planchet, would have a different color and weight, and such errors are extremely rare. If you find one, it could be worth a significant amount more than a regular 1964 penny. Point 6. Red or brown coin color. The color of the coin can also affect its value. While most 1964 pennies are in a brown or copper hue, some rare examples have maintained a brilliant red color due to being well preserved and uncirculated. Coins with brilliant red color are more desirable and can fetch higher prices, especially if they are also in excellent condition. As with any collectible coin, the condition of your 1964 penny is crucial to determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A pristine 1964 penny, especially one that has been carefully stored and is in mint condition, can be worth a lot more than a coin that's been heavily circulated and worn down. Coins graded MS 65 or above are considered high-quality specimens and are always in demand from collectors. If you have a well-preserved 1964 penny, it could be worth much more than you thought. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. How much is a 1964 penny really worth? With the right minting error, in pristine condition, or as a rare proof coin, your 1964 penny could be worth far more than its face value. Drum roll, please. A 1964 penny with the right error, in top condition, or with a rare variety could be worth as much as $45,000, yes, that's right, $45,000 for a single 1964 penny. Whether it's a double die error, off-center strike, or perfect specimen, this small coin could have big value in the world of numismatics. And that's it for today's video. If you've got any 1964 pennies lying around, it's definitely worth checking them out. Who knows, you might be sitting on a rare treasure worth thousands of dollars. Remember to look out for those minting errors, high-quality specimens, and well-preserved coins. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like. Today, we have a coin that might just be sitting in your collection, waiting to surprise you with its value, the 1974 United States 1 cent. Now, at first glance, this might seem like just another penny, but don't be fooled. The 1974 penny has become a highly sought-after treasure in the world of coin collecting. It might not seem like much, but if you know what to look for, this little coin could be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. In this video, we'll explore the unique features of the 1974 penny, the rare minting errors that can make it worth thousands, and how you can figure out whether your 1974 penny could be the key to a massive payday. Stick around until the end, because you won't believe how much this coin could be worth today. Let's jump right in. To understand why the 1974 penny is so valuable, let's take a quick look back at the year 1974. The U.S. economy was going through a bit of a rough patch. We were just a few years past the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal, and inflation was starting to take its toll. Gas prices were rising, and the country was dealing with economic uncertainty. But what does all of this have to do with the 1974 penny? Well, during this time, the U.S. Mint was busy churning out millions of pennies, all struck with the same familiar design. Despite the economic turbulence, the penny remained a staple of American currency, used in everything from vending machines to cash registers. The 1974 penny, like most coins of the time, was made of copper, which was the standard composition for pennies until 1982. This copper composition gives the 1974 penny its signature weight and color, and over time, many of these pennies have become rare collectibles due to their historical significance and unique minting characteristics. But just because there are a lot of 1974 pennies out there doesn't mean that they're all the same. Minting errors and high-quality examples of the coin can increase its value by thousands of dollars. Let's break down what makes the 1974 penny special and why some examples are so sought after. First, let's take a moment to admire the design of the 1974 penny. On the obverse, we have the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This image, designed by artist Victor David Brenner, has been featured on the penny since 1909 and is one of the most recognizable designs in U.S. coinage. On the reverse of the coin, we see the familiar wheat ears design. This design, which was used on the penny from 1909 until 1958, was brought back for a brief period in the 1970s. The wheat design, created by Franklin McVeigh, symbolizes the abundance and strength of the American agricultural industry. So, while the 1974 penny may appear relatively simple at first glance, its historical context and wheat design make it a valuable piece of American history, especially when you consider the unique minting errors that make some 1974 pennies highly coveted among collectors. The true value of the 1974 penny lies in its rarities and minting errors. Collectors are always on the lookout for these special coins, as errors can make a seemingly ordinary penny worth far more than its face value. Let's take a look at some of the most valuable minting errors and varieties you should be watching out for when it comes to the 1974 penny. 1. Double die error. One of the most common and valuable minting errors in U.S. coins is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the production process, resulting in a doubled image on certain parts of the design. For the 1974 penny, look for doubling on the word Liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and even the date itself. These double die errors are highly sought after, and a 1974 penny with noticeable doubling can be worth significantly more than its regular counterpart. 2. Off-center strikes. Another rare error to look for is an off-center strike, which happens when the penny is not aligned properly during the minting process. This results in part of the coin's design being cut off, creating a misaligned image. The further off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. If you happen to find a 1974 penny that is struck off-center, it could be worth many times more than its face value. 3. Clipped planchet. A clipped planchet error occurs when the blank metal planchet used to strike the coin is miscut, leaving part of the coin missing. This is a distinctive error that creates a coin with an irregular shape, and it's highly prized by collectors. If you come across a 1974 penny with a clipped planchet, you could have a valuable collector's item on your hands. 4. Die cracks and cuds. A die crack occurs when the die used to strike the coin develops a crack, which then transfers onto the coin. This can create a raised line or crack on the surface of the coin, usually in the design. Similarly, a cud forms when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a small raised lump on the coin. Both of these errors are rare and desirable for collectors who specialize in die varieties. A 1974 penny with a prominent die crack or cud can be worth far more than an ordinary penny. 5. The 1974's small date variety. In addition to minting errors, there's also a 1974's small date variety to be on the lookout for. Some 1974 pennies struck at the San Francisco Mint feature a smaller date compared to regular 1974 pennies, and these coins are considered a rare variety. If you have a 1974's penny with a small date, it could be worth much more than a regular 1974 penny, especially if it's in mint condition. 6. High-grade uncirculated examples. Of course, one of the simplest ways to increase the value of your 1974 penny is to ensure it's in excellent condition. Coins that have been well preserved, uncirculated, and kept in mint state are always in high demand. If your 1974 penny is in near-perfect or MS-65 condition, it could be worth several times more than its face value, even without a minting error. As with any coin, the condition of your 1974 penny is essential to determining its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. The better the condition of your coin, the higher its value. Coins that are well preserved and have been kept out of circulation are more likely to be graded as uncirculated and will fetch higher prices. A 1974 penny in MS-65 or higher condition can be worth a significant premium. So, how much is a 1974 penny really worth? Well, if you happen to have one with a minting error, a rare variety, or simply a coin in pristine condition, your 1974 penny could be worth a whole lot more than 1 cent. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1974 penny, in top condition or with a valuable minting error, could be worth as much as $49,000. That's right, $49,000 for a single penny. Whether it's a double die error, an off-center strike, or a well-preserved specimen, your 1974 penny could be worth a fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1974 penny, take a closer look. You could be holding a rare treasure that's worth a small fortune. And if you haven't already, be sure to check your collection for those minting errors, special varieties, and pristine coins. Who knows, you might have a $49,000 penny sitting right in front of you. Today's video, because we're diving into a coin that could surprise you with its worth, the 1971 United States 1 cent. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny, right? Well, think again. The 1971 penny has some incredible rarity and value hidden within. This little copper coin could be worth a lot more than just 1 cent, especially if it's one of the rare variations or has a minting error that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. In this video, we'll break down why the 1971 penny is so special, what to look for in terms of minting errors and varieties, and how much this seemingly simple coin could be worth in today's market. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your coin collection for this potentially valuable treasure. So, let's jump right in and uncover everything there is to know about the 1971 1 cent. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1971 penny, let's quickly take a step back in time. The year 1971 was an interesting one in U.S. history. The country was in the midst of political and social change, and the economy was facing some challenges as the U.S. gradually moved away from the gold standard, with Nixon officially taking the U.S. dollar off the gold standard in 1971. But while the economy was in transition, the U.S. Mint was still working hard, producing billions of pennies, including the 1971 1 cent coin. This year's penny, like the rest of the copper pennies from this era, is rich in history and carries with it the economic and cultural footprints of the early 70s. The 1971 penny is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 and continues to this day. On the surface, the design looks fairly standard. It features Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that has become iconic in U.S. coinage. However, while the 1971 penny may look like just another run-of-the-mill penny, there are some key features and errors that make this coin incredibly valuable in certain circumstances. So, let's get into what makes this particular penny so special. First, let's talk about the design of the 1971 penny, a coin that has been around for decades, but still holds tremendous appeal to collectors today. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who has been on the penny since 1909. His portrait is facing right, and the legend, "In God We Trust," and the year 1971 appear to the left and right, respectively. The inscription, "Liberty," is above, completing the portrait design. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was used on the penny from 1959 until 2008. This iconic structure represents Lincoln's legacy and his connection to American unity. The words "E pluribus unum," out of many, one, and United States of America, are displayed above the memorial, with 1 cent and cent below. At first glance, this coin may seem like a standard penny, but as we will see, it's anything but ordinary. There are certain rarities and minting errors in the 1971 penny series that make it extremely valuable for collectors. What truly makes the 1971 penny worth more than face value is the presence of minting errors or special varieties. Just like with other US coins, minting mistakes can turn an everyday coin into a collector's dream. So, let's go over the key minting errors and varieties to look for that could make your 1971 penny worth a lot of money. Point 1. Double die errors. One of the most common and valuable errors found on the 1971 penny is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin makes contact with the metal planchet more than once, resulting in a doubled image. Look closely at the inscriptions, particularly the words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year, 1971. If these features are doubled, you may have a valuable double die penny on your hands. These coins are extremely desirable to collectors, and depending on the severity of the doubling, they can fetch a premium price. Point 2. Off-center strikes. Another error to watch out for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the metal planchet isn't aligned properly in the press, resulting in a portion of the coin's design being cut off. The more misaligned the design, the more valuable the error is. If you find a 1971 penny with a significant off-center strike, it could be worth much more than a regular, well-centered coin. Point 3. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet happens when the blank piece of metal used to strike the coin is cut incorrectly during production, resulting in a missing portion of the coin. This creates a strange, irregular shape that makes the coin much more unique and desirable. If you find a 1971 penny with a clipped planchet, it could be worth significantly more than a typical example. Point 4. Die cracks and cuts. A die crack is another minting error to look for on the 1971 penny. Over time, the die used to strike the coins can develop cracks or chips. When this happens, it can result in raised lines on the coin, often near the portrait of Lincoln or along the memorial building. If you spot a 1971 penny with a noticeable die crack or die cut, a raised lump caused by a broken die, you could have an error coin that's worth much more than face value. Point 5. The 1971's small date. While the 1971 penny is commonly struck with a large date, there are some rare examples with a small date variety, particularly from the San Francisco Mint. This small date variety can be harder to find and is particularly valuable to collectors. If you happen to have a 1971's small date penny, it might be worth more than a typical 1971 penny.as. With any coin, the condition of your 1971 penny is key to its value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Coins that are well preserved, uncirculated, and show little to no wear can command a premium price. If you have a 1971 penny in mint state, MS 65 or above, or one with particularly sharp details, it could be worth a lot more than you think, especially if it's one of the rarer varieties or has a minting error. So, how much could your 1971 penny be worth? After all, this coin may look like just another cent, but it's important to remember that certain errors, minting mistakes, and high-quality specimens can increase its value dramatically. Depending on the condition and whether your coin has any rare features, your 1971 penny could be worth far more than face value. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1971 penny, in top condition or with a rare minting error, could be worth as much as $53,000, that's right, $53,000 for a single 1971 penny. Whether it's a double die error, a clipped planchet, or simply a high-quality coin, your 1971 penny could turn out to be a collector's dream. That's it for today's video. If you have a 1971 penny lying around in your collection, make sure to check it closely, you might just have a rare treasure on your hands. Whether it's a minting error, a special variety, or a high-grade specimen, the 1971 penny could be worth a fortune. Today, we've got something truly special for you, an ordinary coin that could be hiding an extraordinary fortune. If you've ever wondered if that old 1982 penny in your collection could be worth more than just 1 cent, then you're in for a treat. The 1982 United States 1-cent coin might look like any other penny, but don't be fooled, this coin has a few hidden surprises, especially when it comes to minting errors and rare varieties. What makes it even more exciting is that a single 1982 penny could be worth thousands, and I'm talking serious money. So, stick around until the end to find out how much a 1982 penny could be worth today, because you won't believe the price we're about to reveal. Are you ready to dive into the fascinating world of rare 1982 pennies? Let's go. Before we talk about the specific value of the 1982 penny, let's take a quick step back and understand the historical context of the year 1982. It was a time of change for the U.S. economy. The country was facing inflationary pressures, and it was a few years after the Nixon administration took the U.S. off the gold standard. In terms of currency, 1982 was significant because it marked the transition from the traditional copper penny to a zinc-plated copper penny. So, what does this mean for the 1982 penny? Well, in that year, the U.S. Mint produced two different types of pennies. Some were still made of the traditional 95% copper composition, while others were struck in a copper-plated zinc composition. This changeover created two distinct types of 1982 pennies, and the differences between them are not just in their composition but also in their rarity and value. Let's break down the key differences between the two types and why the 1982 penny could be worth a small fortune if you find the right one. At first glance, the 1982 penny looks like your typical Lincoln cent. It features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse of the coin, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic Lincoln Memorial, designed by Franklin McVeigh. This design, which has been a hallmark of the penny since 1959, is simple yet elegant, representing Lincoln's legacy and the enduring strength of the United States, but it's the composition of the coin that really makes it special. In 1982, as the U.S. Mint introduced a major change in the penny's production. With the rising cost of copper, the Mint needed to find a way to reduce the cost of producing the penny. So, in 1982, they began producing pennies made of zinc and coated with a thin layer of copper, instead of the full copper composition used in previous years. Here's where things get interesting. In 1982, the U.S. Mint struck two different types of 1-cent coins, the 1982 copper penny, 95% copper, 5% zinc. This coin was struck at the beginning of the year before the Mint switched to the new zinc composition, the 1982 zinc penny, 97.5% zinc. 2.5% copper. This coin was struck later in the year after the Mint made the change to the new composition. So, how do you tell the difference between these two types? The easiest way is by weight and composition. The copper 1982 penny weighs 3.11 grams, while the zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams. The copper penny has a reddish-brown color, while the zinc penny has a much lighter, slightly more brassy appearance due to the higher zinc content. It's these copper pennies from 1982 that have the potential to be much more valuable than their zinc counterparts, especially if they are in mint condition or have minting errors. The real treasure for collectors lies in the minting errors and rare varieties of the 1982 penny. Collectors often look for coins with mistakes in the striking process, as these error coins can be worth far more than the typical coin in circulation. Here are some of the most sought-after errors to watch for in the 1982 penny. 1. The 1982 double die obverse penny. One of the most valuable errors to look out for is the double die error. This happens when the dies used to strike the coins are misaligned, causing the design to be stamped twice, creating a doubled image. The 1982 double die penny is especially notable on the word Liberty and the date. If you find a 1982 penny with noticeable doubling on these areas, you may have a rare and valuable coin on your hands. 2. The 1982 off-center strike. Another error to watch for is an off-center strike, which happens when the blank metal planchet is not properly aligned with the die during the striking process. This results in a coin with a design that is cut off on one side, creating a unique and irregular shape. The more misaligned the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. 3. The 1982 clipped planchet. A clipped planchet error occurs when the blank metal planchet, the piece of metal used to strike the coin, is miscut, leaving part of the coin missing. This creates a coin with an unusual, irregular shape. These clipped pennies are highly collectible and can be worth far more than a standard 1982 penny. Point 4. High-grade copper pennies. Not all valuable 1982 pennies have to have a minting error. If you happen to have a copper 1982 penny that is in perfect condition, graded at MS 65 or higher, it could still fetch a premium. These high-quality examples are highly prized by collectors because they are so hard to find in such pristine condition, given that most pennies circulated and were subject to wear and tear over the years. So, how much could your 1982 penny be worth? Well, if it's one of the rare copper versions, and even more so if it has a minting error or is in high-grade condition, it could be worth thousands of dollars, not just 1 cent. Now, are you ready for the big reveal? A 1982 penny, in top condition or with a rare minting error, could be worth as much as $57,000. Yes, you heard that right, $57,000 for a single 1982 penny. So, the next time you come across a 1982 penny, take a moment to inspect it closely. It could be a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. Whether it's a rare copper penny, a double die error, or a high-grade specimen, your 1982 penny could be worth a fortune. Today, we have something very special for you. It might look like just another ordinary penny, but this is no ordinary 1975 US 1-cent coin. While many of these pennies are still found in circulation, there's one specific type of 1975 penny that has some truly rare qualities, and in certain cases, it can be worth a fortune. I'm talking serious money, folks. So, if you're the proud owner of a 1975 penny, stick around because you might just have a valuable treasure sitting right under your nose. Whether it's due to a minting error, a unique variety, or just a high-grade specimen, this penny could be worth way more than just 1 cent. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how much this 1975 penny could be worth. Trust me, you won't want to miss the big reveal. Let's dive in and uncover everything there is to know about the 1975 US 1 cent. Before we get into the specifics of the 1975 penny, let's take a step back and look at the historical context of the year 1975. The 1970s were a turbulent time for the US economy. The country was dealing with stagflation, a mix of inflation and high unemployment that made things tough for many Americans. The price of living was going up, but wages weren't keeping pace, making for an interesting economic environment. Meanwhile, the US Mint was still churning out pennies by the billions to keep up with demand. The 1975 penny was part of the larger Lincoln cent series, which had been in circulation since 1909. However, what makes the 1975 penny stand out is a combination of design history, a change in production methods, and a handful of minting errors that occurred during this time, errors that are now highly sought after by collectors. So, what makes the 1975 penny so special? Let's dive into the design and the features that could make it valuable. The 1975 penny follows the standard Lincoln cent design, which has been used in US currency for more than a century. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, facing right in his iconic portrait. The inscription, "In God We Trust," appears to the left, and "Liberty" is placed above Lincoln's bust, with the year of minting, 1975, to the right. On the reverse of the coin, you'll find the famous Lincoln Memorial, designed by Franklin McVeigh, which had been the reverse design since 1959. This reverse features the phrase, "E pluribus unum," out of many, one, with the words, "United States of America," above, and 1 cent below. The memorial is an iconic representation of American unity and pride. The basic design of the 1975 penny may look ordinary, but the 1975 cent carries with it a history of economic shifts, and some of the rarities you'll find are what really make this coin stand out in the world of collectors. While the 1975 penny might seem like just another coin, it's actually extremely valuable for certain collectors, particularly because of a few minting errors and varieties. Errors happen during the minting process, and they can create coins that are significantly more valuable than a standard penny. So, let's break down the key features and errors to look out for in the 1975 penny. 1. Double die obverse. 1975 double die penny, one of the most exciting errors to look for in the 1975 penny is the double die obverse. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or worn, resulting in doubled images on the coin. The 1975 double die penny is especially noticeable in the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." If you find a 1975 penny where the lettering is doubled, you may have a valuable error coin on your hands. The double die error can vary in severity, with some coins showing a light doubling and others displaying a more prominent, dramatic doubling. The more noticeable the doubling, the more valuable the coin is likely to be. A well-preserved double die 1975 penny can fetch a pretty penny, especially if it's graded highly by a professional grading service. Point 2. Off-center strike. Another minting error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank piece of metal used to create the coin isn't properly aligned with the die. The result is a coin with a portion of the design missing from one side, leaving it with a misaligned and irregular edge. Off-center strikes are rare, and the more misaligned the design is, the more valuable the coin can be. A 1975 penny with an off-center strike, especially one that shows a significant portion of the design missing, could be worth far more than a regular penny, depending on the severity of the error. Point 3. Clipped planchet error. A clipped planchet occurs when the metal planchet, the blank piece of metal used to create the coin, is imperfectly cut before being struck by the die. This leaves part of the coin missing or clipped, giving it an irregular shape. Clipped pennies are highly sought after by collectors because of their unique appearance. If you find a 1975 penny with a noticeable clipped edge, it could be worth significantly more than a standard, error-free penny. Point 4. High-grade coins. Even without a minting error, some 1975 pennies can still fetch a high value if they are in pristine condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A 1975 penny in mint state 65, MS 65, or above is considered a high-grade coin and can be worth far more than a circulated example. Keep an eye out for 1975 pennies that have been well preserved over the years, especially if they show sharp details and minimal wear. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for: how much could your 1975 penny be worth? If it has a minting error, a double die obverse, an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, or simply remains in great condition, your penny could be worth thousands of dollars, far more than the 1 cent it was originally issued for. And now, the big reveal: a 1975 penny, especially one with a rare minting error, high-grade condition, or unique variety, could be worth as much as $62,000. That's right, $62,000 for a single 1975 penny. So, the next time you go through your coin collection or check your change, be sure to give that 1975 penny a close look. It could be a hidden treasure just waiting to be found. Whether it's a double die error, an off-center strike, or a minted masterpiece, your 1975 penny could be worth a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an exciting discovery. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting for those valuable coins.